Everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us for this discussion. We have 30 minutes together here, so we'll try to keep this time as productive as possible. We want to spend the majority of our time doing a demonstration of the actual plugin itself and giving you time to ask us some questions, and more importantly, the people who actually developed the plugin, asking them some questions, as we have some special guests joining us here today as well. So a few housekeeping things. We have a question and answer module, obviously in the Zoom webinar link here. If you have trouble locating it, just let us know, but that is the way we're going to do questions. We're going to save questions until the end of the presentation, but we do encourage you to type them in as they come up throughout the discussion today, and we'll either have time to answer them directly in the chat or we'll answer them in the public forum. This session is being recorded, so I know I had a lot of people request that this gets sent out following the call, so it will be sent to everybody who registered. If you have people on your team who weren't able to attend, you'll be able to redistribute as you'd like. As a very high-level agenda, it's really simple. I'll give a quick introduction in terms of what we're doing here today, who SkyWatch is, what this plugin's all about, and then I'll hand it over to Kevin and John joining us from the GeoMarvel team, who actually spent all the hard work building this plugin, and they will be able to take us through a demonstration and then start to answer some Q&A at the end of the presentation. All right, so without further ado, let's kick things off. For anyone who doesn't know, and I assume almost everybody on this call knows who SkyWatch is. SkyWatch is a company we're based out of Kitchener-Waterloo in Ontario, Canada, and we've been around for since 2015. We make a product called EarthCache. EarthCache, very simply, is a API and a single access point to a plethora of remote sensing data sources. So we want to make it really simple for organizations and individuals to get access to remote sensing data and all the hurdles and challenges that go with that statement. About a year ago, we met up with the Esri team at a conference, and we let them know that we had an overwhelming amount of traffic coming into our front door, asking for updated base maps for ArcGIS Pro. And that was specifically the language that we heard over and over and over again. And that made us reach out to the Esri team and say, hey, we're getting this request a lot. We're fairly new to the Esri ecosystem, but what can we do to help solve this problem? And ultimately what we did is build what we're showing you today. And it helps organizations or individual users acquire data, access, use it directly in ArcGIS Pro. For our bigger partners, so we work with organizations who have dozens, if not hundreds of ArcGIS users. We're working with them on more bespoke solutions that says, how can we actually make this an enterprise solution? How can we allow you as an enterprise to have a singular access point to the acquisition, access, usage, and distribution of data across your organization? If you are one of those big organizations, we can, of course, have a more bespoke conversation and encourage you to sort of reach out to us after the conversation today, and we can set that up. So without further ado, I will hand it over to our partners, Kevin and John, who work at GeoMarvel, and they were integral in building out what we're showing today.
Thanks, Jordan. I'll take over the screen here. Okay, everybody see my screen?
Yep, Kevin, we see it.
Great. Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin Cherian, application developer at GeoMarvel. I'm here with my colleague, John Nordling, and we're part of the team that helped build SkyWatch, build this add-in in ArcGIS Pro. Today, we'd like to do a walkthrough of the add-in and its functionality. To get the add-in, you need to go to ArcGIS Marketplace. This is the product section, and on top, you will see EarthCache for ArcGIS Pro listed, and you can follow the prompts listed to acquire it. Great. Here it says view item because I already acquired it, so it's not a problem. But you will see a button to get the item. Okay, so here I have ArcGIS Pro open with a project with some with the test layer that I'm going to use for this demo. So let's actually move over this again. So let's go over to the EarthCache tab at the top right. Once you have installed the ArcGIS, the Pro add-in, you will see this tab available in your ArcGIS Pro. I'm going to click Login. I'm going to enter my credentials. These credentials can be acquired from SkyWatch's website. And hit continue. And I'll see all the options available as a user open up here as soon as I log in. So the two main features that EarthCache's add-in for ArcGIS Pro makes available to the user is searching in the archive and ordering new imagery. So Search Archive lets you search SkyWatch's data archive for data already collected by SkyWatch's data owners. Order Imagery, on the other hand, lets you order imagery for dates in the past or task satellites to collect imagery for the future. Both of those options let you download data to your local machine or wherever you have ArcGIS Pro installed. But before I go into those features, let's see where the data gets downloaded to. You can choose the location for your download for the imagery that gets downloaded by clicking on this Set Download folder. Okay. And the ArcGIS Options menu opens up, and I can click on this menu here and select my directory that I want to download data to. Okay, now that I have that covered, let's go to Search Archive. Okay, so this is the Search Archive page. So this lets me search SkyWatch's data archive for data for my specific area of interest. In this specific case, I have a map open with several different polygons in the state of Pennsylvania. I just picked Pennsylvania because why not? Completely random. You can pick anywhere in the world you want. So in this case, I have a single layer called Pennsylvania AOI, but in that layer, I have multiple features. I can choose to select the features within that layer because I may not necessarily want to select all of them. I may not want to do a search for all the layers, all the features from that layer, maybe just one or two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just these two, and you'll see that these get highlighted and immediately show up on left as selected features. Okay, so I can do that, or I can select this button here to draw my own polygon on the map. So I'm going to click around on the map, choose my vertices, double click to finish my polygon. And that will immediately get added to the drop down here. I'm going to go back and select my AOI because that's what I'm going to be doing my search in. I can select date range, start date that goes back however long you want. I'm going to pick April 1st to an end date of today. For search, the maximum, the latest end date you can pick is today's date. And you can also pick a resolution. So resolution options are low, medium, high, and very high. Keep in mind that there are AOI size requirements. The higher resolution imagery that you want for your area of interest, the smaller the area of interest has to be. You can also pick minimum coverage percentage. So minimum coverage is the percentage of minimum usable pixels in your area of interest. So I'm going to hit run, and this will open up the order dashboard or the search results here. Right? It'll tell you that it's doing the search, and it'll pull up the results here. Give it a second for it to load. There's a lot of results here. So in here, I can filter these results according to name. So the name is given to the right of the checkbox here. I can filter it according to the sensor, based on the sensor that collected that data. In this case, I picked low res, so most of the results are Sentinel-2. I could filter it according to resolution range, filter according to cloud cover as a percentage, or the area of cover, AOI coverage percentage that I included earlier. So if I Sentinel, it'll just filter in results according to whether Sentinel as a keyword is in the name or not. Okay, let's check out these results. These are categorized according to resolution and the area of interest that you use to search. I can hover over the preview image that you see here and see it blown up, which is a pretty nifty feature, or I can click on preview and map to add it as a layer to the table of contents. So I just click preview and map, and it'll just add it to the map straight up, right? This preview image is just a low-res PNG. This is not the actual output. This is, you can see it's pretty low-res because it's just a PNG, right? It's not a TIFF. This data gives you all information like the cost, what cost it'll be to download the data, the area of interest coverage, the cloud coverage percentage, and the resolution. I'm going to click on a couple of these, select a couple of these results. I'm going to select my desired output bands. In this case, I'm going to pick false color infrared, and I'm going to give it an order name. I'm going to say 0621 PA demo. And also give it key value pairs as tags to make searching for these results easier later. Right. I'm going to click order. I can see my total cost here. In this case, $0 because low res is free. It'll give me a prompt asking me to confirm. Click yes. And it'll open up the order dashboard. Before I go into the order dashboard, I want to take a moment to go into order imagery, because order imagery will also take you to the order dashboard. So I'll just explain the dashboard after this workflow is done. Okay, so like I said earlier, order imagery lets you order imagery for the past, but also task satellites to collect data in the future. Selecting an AOI layer is the same workflow as the search. Either select from a dropdown or use the draw tool to create your own polygon. I can create select my output layer type. In this case, I'm going to select NDVI. I'm going to give it a pipeline name. We recommend giving these pipeline names to make it easier to distinguish in your order dashboard, because this will be pretty, you might have a lot of results that you want to filter through. I'm going to close the order dashboard right now. It can be kind of distracting. I'm going to select my start date and end date. End date, this can, unlike search, this can go into the future. So I'm going to select a date for September. Select my interval mode. Interval mode lets me select between, so if I want to create a single interval for this entire date range spanning 4 months, then I will click, then I would select single. But if I want to select multiple intervals in this date range, then I could do, say, 10 days. So it'll collect data every 10 days. Okay. I can also select my resolution. Same restrictions apply for your area of interest size requirements. The requirements are a little bit different, but you can use the hover over text here to find out what those requirements are or check our documentation. You can select mosaicing to be on or off. This will be useful in cases where you have tasking allowed, which kind of plays into that feature as well. So tasking allowed, which is the case where you want to task satellites to collect data in the future. You'll want to check this if you want that, right? But you'll see that it's disabled in this case because I have low resolution selected. Tasking is only enabled for high and very high resolutions. And like search, I can also select my min coverage, which is a percentage of usable pixels in your imagery. Okay, and I can hit submit. And in this case, okay, so I did select very high resolution, and it's going to ask me if I want to create this. It's going to cost me $16,000. I don't. So I click my low res, and I'm going to click yes. I'm glad I got that prompt. Okay, so this is the order dashboard. This opens up after you submit your order for search or you complete your order imagery workflow. All right, and you see here a list of history of all the pipelines that I have created in the past, whether from search or order. Okay, so let's go over this. You'll see a status for each of these. I'm going to click on one of the completed ones because some of these are still active, whether it's because it's pending from the one that I just created and it's not complete yet, or if it's a tasking activity that's still to complete in the future. Okay, so I'm going to click on this guy here, click on the result, and like the search result, I can also see the preview blown up when I mouse over. I can choose to see the quick view of it by previewing it in the map by clicking on this download button, or if I want the actual higher res analytic data downloaded, I can tap here, and it'll download in the background. Right? So what is this guy here? So this is metadata, and if I click Open Explorer, I know there's a lot of use cases where users will want to see the metadata for the imagery that they're downloading, in applications like Visual Studio Code or wherever you want to see your JSON data available. It's a JSON, so you can open it up in that too. Okay, so this is what the metadata looks like. And you see here the data has finished downloading, and you'll notice the data finished downloading, and there's a green highlight around the download button, so you won't be prompted to download that same data later. Go over a couple of these buttons on the left here. So you can choose to delete pipelines from this dashboard. I can click delete on one of these, and it will prompt me if I actually want to delete it. Like yes. And the dashboard will refresh itself. Let's go back to the other guy, and I want to see where this AOI is. So I can select zoom to AOI, and it'll actually, if I have my, so if I go to my table of contents, turn off my EarthCache layers, I can see that that's where my AOI is. And this add button actually adds that AOI back into your table of contents and adds it to the database. So let me do this real quick here, but let me explain what this is. So EarthCache layers is a new layer, it's a group layer that gets added to your table of contents whenever you have data downloaded from within the dashboard. Whether that's a vector data to AOI, or if it's an imagery data from the dashboard, from the API, right? And that gets divided according to whether they're vectors or raster Okay, so you can also filter the dashboard result, the pipelines in your dashboard according to name, pipeline ID, status, tags. So I'm going to say demo, and it'll return me a list of all the pipelines containing the words demo. Okay. Another feature I want to highlight here is, sometimes users don't want to sit here and click through the 10 or 20 or 100 results that they have, like download, check the box, download them one by one. Instead, what they can do is select the checkboxes here for bulk download and choose to select download all the pipelines at once. Instead of going through the data one by one, clicking it here under the analytic data button. Okay. This order dashboard also gives you other metadata, including your date ranges, intervals, when you created them, etc. And I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. John, did you want to add anything else to this?
Yeah, we've got a couple good questions in the chat here, so I think probably a good opportunity just to answer some of them. First one is will this plugin work in ArcMap and also ArcGIS Pro? So good question. Currently the add-in is developed strictly for ArcGIS Pro. However, it is planning to be supported in both the 2.9s, the 2 series of ArcGIS, as well as the 3. So currently the roadmap of the add-in is being included for ArcGIS Pro. If you are an ArcMap user, I would say that all of this functionality here associated with this is also available in the web version of EarthCache. So if this is certainly an ArcGIS Pro sort of native way to approach it, but if you have needs outside of ArcGIS Pro, you sort of can get at the same functionality in both locations. But good question, and if that is something that you're very interested in, I think the product team would be interested in learning more and evaluating that use case. Third question was on the. I'm gonna answer the third one first, which Kevin's showing now is on the metadata. So Kevin, there's a question in here that says, so the metadata didn't open in ArcGIS Pro, and so the metadata is available in the raster. We were showing the metadata because there's metadata that falls outside of what is supported in ArcGIS Pro. So we're supporting both in a lot of ways. We're supporting the metadata that's embedded in the raster, but as well as also providing that metadata that has SkyWatch EarthCache specific metadata associated, which really has nothing to do with ArcGIS Pro and is often used for data analysis and modeling and other use cases. So that's a good question, and just because it's a JSON, it doesn't natively open. It's not a geographical format, so it doesn't open in ArcGIS Pro. But there is talk, and I've been part of a few calls with getting these to be actual raster types in ArcGIS. So when we download a raster right now, it's a TIFF file, but the ability for it to be sort of a true raster type, which a lot of this metadata would be applicable and usable in that format. And then the other question so with the evolution of ArcGIS Pro and ArcMap, the lifespan of interest, let me back up a second here. Great tool considering the ever-changing nature of the API updates in ArcGIS Pro. What is the intended lifespan of this tool to ensure its capability? So good question for the overall product team here, but I would say that we're planning to continue to build out new features for this add-in and do product releases of it and stay up to date with the ArcGIS Pro runtimes, capabilities, and versions that ArcGIS Pro is coming out with. So this is obviously brand new and it's certainly not something that's going to be a one and done version product release. We're already working on version 2, which has great features coming in place. I don't want to necessarily provide them in this form, but I certainly, if you're interested or have features that you're interested in having put in, I think the product team would be really interested to hear about what they are and get those into the roadmap. So yes, long lifespan for these, and we're working very closely with Esri on keeping this add-in supported for upcoming versions of ArcGIS. So, let's see, I think there's a third question in here.
I can help with that one, John, if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question was, are there any additional features offered by this plugin compared to the web version of EarthCache? So as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, EarthCache is a single API, really easy way to access a whole host of different data sources. And I actually wanted to double tap on that point anyway with this audience to make sure that everybody understands, because oftentimes what we find is when people onboard into EarthCache, they think they understand, and then it takes a little while before they really have the aha moment of what they have access to. Getting access to EarthCache gives you access to all of the well-known data players that you know. So all resolution types from Planet and Airbus and the major players, and also a lot of up-and-coming data suppliers are also constantly being added to our platform as options. And so within a single point, having access to all of those data sources in a really simple way to search through all of them programmatically based on your resolution types and data needs is a very powerful thing. And again, I'll just double tap that because people sometimes think they understand the wow factor, and then they get into it and they use it and they realize, oh my gosh, I actually can get access to all of these data sources for really low minimum prices and have access to high resolution data for my projects. So I know it's not answering your question directly, but I wanted to double tap on that. In terms of the feature set, obviously ArcGIS is a much more, it's an understatement of the century to say it's a much more feature-rich product. The core functionality that lives in EarthCache is in this plugin. So being able to look across all of the data sources and make either scan, search for, and make a purchase across those data sources, that lives in the plugin. But yeah, I certainly would say obviously ArcGIS Pro is much more feature-rich.
One of my favorite features, Jordan, that you were just talking about there is actually paying just for the AOI that you're requesting, because a lot of times you order imagery, you get the full image. One of my favorite features of this is giving an AOI and just being charged for the area of interest. I think another question in here is job opportunity for the organization. I would say reach out to SkyWatch. I think that's a good question, and if you are interested, you should reach out to them. Maybe someone can throw an email in there for people that are interested to reach out. And then the last question is regarding the original request around base maps. Are there plans to release world or North America base maps for use in Pro Esri web mapping applications? Sort of a hard question to answer, but I'm going to answer it in a different way. This Pro added supports the publishing of services, and in future releases of this, there's a lot more to being that we're going to be doing to make that easier, so that you could create a base map of this imagery to be supported in information products, ArcGIS web maps, to be consumed as regular map services. So which would include base maps. So the short answer to that is yes, and you can do it today if you have the ability to publish up images to your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise system as image services or just regular tile services. And as the product roadmap evolves, there's going to be a lot more coming with making that a lot easier to potentially host imagery and get services on demand for images that you want to publish from the EarthCache system. So good question though.
And then I know we have 30 seconds left, so perfect timing across this group. And thank you so much for everyone who attended. What I will say is my last ask to this audience: if you haven't already, please do download the plugin. What we would love is your feedback. We'd love your feedback on how you are using the plugin. If you hit any hiccups, what are those hiccups? Please pass them along. And if you have any feature requests, we also would appreciate that. So please do let us know from onboarding into actually using the plugin, how you find it. And thank you again for your time today, and stay tuned for the recording. They'll be sent out this week. Take care.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, everyone.